66. Celebrate Matt McNeil's 15 years on AM 950 with an unforgettable afternoon at Cruder's Supper Club. Enjoy a delicious dinner and a live conversation with Nancy Nelson interviewing Matt on Sunday, March 30th at Crooner's. Space is limited, so get your tickets now at am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, streaming live on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegailey show. Welcome to The Gailey Show. I'm your host, John Parker. In studio with me, executive producer Jim Pounds.
Hey, all.
In the control room today, Brett Johnson. Hey, Brett.
Hey there, guys.
How you holding up in the
Still
world?
going. We only have several hundred more weeks to go.
Yeah. Wow. It's just flying by.
I want to say on the air, Brett, your show yesterday, guest hosting for Matt McNeil. We listened to the first hour of it, and it was spectacular.
Yeah.
We wanted to check in and just see like how the headlines were going, and then you had two fantastic interviews with breaking down the Social Security and what's happening there, and then with Media Matters. It was just, if you guys get a chance, if you gays, if anybody listening, go on yesterday. It was the 3/11, so March 11th episode of the Matt McNeil Show. Really special stuff there. Really, really great. I really appreciated it, Brett.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for the kind words too. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our call-in number, if you want to give Brett some love as well, our call-in number is 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. You can also chat with us on our YouTube live stream. What is on the show today? We're going to spend some time talking about LGBTQ healthcare because there's a batch of stories, particularly around non-consensual surgeries performed on kids under 12 that we want to talk about here, because there's the myth that's happening from the administration and frankly a little bit in the media, and then what's actually going on, which is a little right? That's my technical term. LGBT, and then we're gonna have an LGBTQ politics section. A bunch of major LGBTQ organizations sent a letter, official letter to the DNC, asking them something, and we're gonna break it down in the context of where we're seeing the political moment. Again, taking that sort of overview look. But first, MSNBC. Now, I will say that I was an MSNBC fanatic for going all the way up until the election. I mean, I was watching, I get home and it was, Nicole Wallace and then Joy Reid and then Ari Melber and then I guess that's when we stopped watching. Those three shows are the ones that I watched. And then we would check in with Rachel, and Chris Hayes, and we would usually, after our regular household viewing, we'd turn off the thing and we'd have, Lawrence O'Donnell and one of my favorites, personal faves on the network, Stephanie Rule. I think Stephanie is underrated. And y'all, this morning I heard a clip of hers that Stephanie Miller was playing on her show this morning, and it was about Stephanie was going after the governor of West Virginia about a new law related to trans kids. And do yourselves a favor, go find that. I think she won the Democracy of the Day award from the Stephanie Miller show. But it is a spectacular takedown of some real big nonsense there. I recommend listening to it. But after the election, I stopped watching MSNBC.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. One is that I felt that the coverage they were giving was wrong leading up to the election. They said there was no get out the voter thing, and then clearly there was get out the voter things happening. Their analysis of where the race was at, was more tilting to, that Kamala was gonna get this and was gonna run with it, and that analysis was incorrect.
Right.
And there was just this, I had this feeling of and I wasn't the only one. There was a number of people that were tuning out. Their ratings were way down. Mika and Joe on Morning Joe ran down to Mar-a-Lago, and I was like, nope, done there. And I wanted to see a change of how they were going to cover him.
Yes.
And I wanted them to move away from the this is what happened. This was happened this hour. This was happened this. And I wanted to have a better approach to the macro levels of politics in this country.
More evaluative.
Because I didn't want them to keep doing what they were doing. Because if they were going to do that, they were wrong.
Right.
Their analysis was incorrect.
Right.
Their reporting was, taking from what happened that hour and that day, but where they were leading to was not leading to, the outcome that we wanted or what I thought was going to happen.
Well, they were standing too close, right? They needed to back up a few hundred feet and give some perspective, in my opinion.
So then we get a couple weeks ago where they fire Joy Reid, like days after they were, crowing about how she won an award from the NAACP for her book and everything. And then, they decided to fire her in Black History Month. Also awesome. And at the same time, they then take a hatchet to all of their anchors of color, canceling their shows. Now, I want to be very mindful here, and I was calling this out on Blue Sky. Canceling someone's show did not equate to someone being fired. Right, so they took Alex Wagner off the anchor desk, because they were bringing Rachel Maddow in for the full, 5 days a week for the first 100 days, and then she was going to go back to her, Rachel will go back to her once a week. Alex is still employed by MSNBC. They canceled Amon, I'm blanking on his last name, the Amon show, but Amon is still employed by MSNBC. They canceled Jonathan Capehart's show, but Jonathan's still. But there was this thing going around, even from people like George Takei, that was like, all these people got fired. They were not fired. Their shows were canceled. But it is a problem that they were canceling all the shows by anchors of color. Not a single white anchor had their show canceled at MSNBC, right? Now, MSNBC has been spun off. It is not part of NBC News anymore. I don't know where the status of that spinoff is, meaning that they're going to be their own company, and they need to create their own news gathering organizations. They need to get their own bureau chiefs and da da da. Right. Well, MSNBC. Now, I don't know if this is because they were like, what did we just do here? But credit where credit is due. This is now. I don't know if I want to give them the credit for this. It is happening on their network. The first time that two out gay Black men are going to be hosting a show. And that show is MSNBC's The Weekend. It's Jonathan Capehart, who has been on he had his show canceled, but he is the newly named MSNBC senior senior Washington correspondent. No, I'm sorry. There's Jonathan Capehart, and then Eugene Daniels, who is the newly named MSNBC senior Washington correspondent, and both Jonathan and Eugene are out. So we say what we will about MSNBC, and I will say what I want about MSNBC because I was in broadcast TV journalism for 10 years and now in a broadcast radio sense, and I've taught journalism, and I just at a college. And so I have thoughts about their coverage, as I have thoughts of all, journalism where it's at. So I will not hesitate.
2 steps back, 1 step forward, something like that?
I don't necessarily want to say it's 1 step forward. I just want to give credit to the fact that if you are a queer person in the world, particularly the United States, and you want to listen to 2 liberal, progressive, gay Black men, you can tune in to The Weekend show.
That's cool.
On MSNBC.
Very cool.
And that is progress.
Visibility. We're being seen at least a little bit. Yeah.
And Jonathan is for real, like Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, associate editor for the Washington Post. I have no idea how how that is going over there, considering the Post is basically turning into a right-wing rag. Because of Bezos. But
the Star Tribune is turning into a right-wing rag. I literally had a Republican representative from Wisconsin quote the Star Tribune to me, and I thought, now we've come full circle.
Yeah, no.
Well, so that's good news. And when does this Sunday program begin? Do you have a start date?
I believe it started.
Oh, great.
And if it hasn't, you can well, no, it must have, because Jonathan was hosting the Jonathan Capehart show on the weekend mornings, Saturday and Sunday. And so now it's been, that show is canceled, and now they're going to have The Weekend. And Amon is going to do that. He will anchor the evening portions. Wow, I get spit it out, John. The evening portions of The Weekend show in the evenings on Saturday and Sunday. And if you hadn't watched Amon's show, he is super progressive. So there are some folks on there that are on our side of things, and hopefully Jonathan and Amon will have a level of editorial control to be able to continue to cover the stories in the way that they want to cover them as progressive men of color
That's great.
on that network. But, I do want to say we now have in the United States of America 2 out gay Black men hosting. And there's never been a time where 2 gay men have hosted right at the same time.
Yeah,
so it
that's
is,
great.
to see that is really special. And if you want to tune into that, MSNBC on Saturday and Sunday mornings.
Something positive. That's nice.
Yeah. I want to see the editorial control.
Right.
I want to see the editorial control.
Okay.
Okay, so these organizations, Human Rights Campaign, GLAAD, Equality California, Equality Federation, Advocates for Transgender Equality, and a few other individuals have sent a letter to the DNC. And they have said, we are calling on you, the DNC, to do more. They said in their letter, and I'm reading directly from it right now, we write to call on our allies to stand up for full equality. Elected Democratic officials have pushed back, voted no, exercised their veto authority, and stood up. As champions, we recognize and appreciate those efforts, but the party's leaders simply must do more. And they lay out in the letter about what we've got a caller.
What they want to see. They've been specific.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, about that. But we have a caller calling in, Lawrence from St. Paul, for giving MSNBC question mark. Are we doing that? What's up, Lawrence?
Several things, but I wanted to call you when you first started your show to try to get some insight on, on being gay. Because let's say, for instance, if I ran for something, a lot of people out there don't know your agenda. So I was looking for that, when you first started the show. But this is different today. I gotta disagree with you. I mean, a lot of the rights that you guys appreciate and enjoy now were realized on the backs of Black people. So for you to say, and this is just my opinion, for you to say, hey, we should all forgive MSNBC just because they got 2 gay guys, that really doesn't sit well with me, and I'll tell you why. Because that's like saying, oh, okay, they got 2 gay guys, it's okay to watch them, even though some of the rights I am enjoying now were given to me under the umbrella of Black rights and Blacks fighting for rights and stuff like that. I don't know if we should capitulate so quickly.
No, Lawrence, I agree with you. Can you hold on, Lawrence? I've got to fit in a break here, and I want to keep going. Is that all right?
Okay.
Stick with us. We're going to have a break here. We're going to take a quick break. Lawrence, if you can hang out with us through the commercial break, we're going to continue this conversation because it's really important, and I agree 1,000% with you, Lawrence. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Gailey Show.
Hey, it's Patrick. We're headed into March, which means spring cleaning is almost here. You're about to realize that, and so is just about everybody else, too. That's why you need to beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our friends at Zero Res right now. We just had Zero Res over at our house last week, and they did such a wonderful job. They were on time, professional, and we couldn't be happier with the results. Spring is a time for renewal. Let Zero Res help you refresh your home with clean carpets, fresh floors, and improved air quality. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner starting at $129 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning. Again, that's 3 rooms starting at $129 and $75 off an air duct cleaning. Beat the rush. Call now 952-0-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. That's Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
Hello, everyone. I am Becky McNanton, host of Feels Out Loud, brought to you by Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness. This Sunday, tune in as we process through mental health and the impact of job change and professional transitions. And if you have a question about this topic or other emotional experiences, visit our website at www.becomingtogethermn.com to find the Feels Out Loud page or email us directly at contact@becomingtogethermn.com. We may share your question on the show. Join us at 9 a.m. to live and share mental health together.
Join me this week on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. Monday, author Joe Prozit will be joining us to talk about his new horror book, They Come From Below. Tuesday, psychic medium Refined Divine will be sharing some of her alien experiences. Wednesday, talking about the Masters of Mystery with Rob Young. Tom Conwell Thursday, talking about alien disclosure and ascension. Plus, as always, Casual Friday. Join us all this week on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Monday through Friday at 10 p.m. And you can catch past episodes on ghostboxradio.com.
Hey, this is John Parker with The Gaily Show. Did you know that one of the reasons Elon Musk bought Twitter is because he thought it brainwashed his child who is transgender? And Facebook, Instagram, and Threads have explicitly written in their user policies that their users can now call LGBTQ people mentally ill and that women are the property of men. So we've headed to Blue Sky. We're at thegailyshow.org. It's the platform that wants social media to be social, not fascist. Follow us for ticket giveaways and lots of progressive news. We're at thegailyshow.org on Blue Sky.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
Welcome back to the Gaily Show. I'm your host, John Parker. It is 21 minutes past the hour. Our call-in number, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We are on with Lawrence from St. Paul calling us in about should we be forgiving MSNBC after they axed all of their Anchor of Color shows, and yet they have now announced two gay black men will be hosting their weekend shows. Lawrence, pick it up from where you were. Are you still with us, Lawrence?
Sure. Yeah, sure. You know, I'm thinking also that, yeah, and they're smart at MSNBC. So they know that all they have to do is capitulate to one little voice, and all will be forgiven. They count on us being that way, and that kind of goes for the Democratic Party as well. Mm-hmm. You know, our party is woven with a tapestry of diversity. You know, different kind of people, different cultures. But if one little culture doesn't support the other, the entire thing falls apart. Mm-hmm. And that's not like the Conservative Party. They got one thing, male, white, and they use that. And they also know this, that if all they have to do is capitulate to one little demand for us, we will stop supporting the whole thing. And I think you kind of typified that example, because you're saying, oh, okay, they got two gay men, so therefore, if you want to watch it, watch that. And I understand where you're coming from, but that's where we disagree. I'm anxious to hear your thoughts on this.
Lawrence, I actually agree a lot. I love Jonathan, but I have not tuned back into MSNBC. I think what they did is really unconscionable about how they went through and axed all of those. Not a single white anchor had their show axed at all, and I think that is just. It's unconscionable. It is unconscionable. I think from my perspective, I think that it is for the Gaily Show noteworthy. Like, it's news that we now have two out gay black men who are hosting a show. So I feel like compelled that I have to report on that. But I agree. I'm not running back into the MSNBC fold. There's a lot of stuff that they're going to have to do better if they want to get back viewers. And I think that you're right in the sense of. Just because they're so-called on the left doesn't mean that we have to go with everything that they're reporting. And I also want to, point out that the Democratic Party would not be what it is right now without the organizing and Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. 93% of Black women voted for Kamala Harris. And I just, exactly. The party would not be what it is.
Even on the male part. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, even on the male part, the male support, it didn't go down drastically.
It didn't.
It wasn't a mandate. No, they just lost it 10%. not even that of the male vote.
Yeah.
They still had a lot of the black male vote as well, you know, and that's the thing. There is if I may add, there is a mayor that's running for Congress. He's from New Jersey, and he says exactly what you say a lot. He says exactly what I think. He says a lot what Matt thinks, and he's running. He came from nowhere, and now he's running ahead in the poll. Everybody should. I just read a news blurb on it about a week ago. Everybody should read up on this guy. This is how you fight.
Mm-hmm.
You fight like Jasmine Crockett fight, and from that all the way down, AOC, all the way down to your show to Matt. I've been telling you guys to do, and that's how. And I think that's how you do it. You know, and just another thing here. So when you started your show, I was like, wow, I'm very interested in this because I know nothing about being gay. What is it? You know, and I'm an airline pilot by trade. So
wow, thank you for that.
95% of the people. Oh, you got to go. Okay, I'm sorry.
No. I was thanking you for flying. That's no. I love flying. So thank you for being an airline pilot. Sorry, keep going.
Oh yeah. The unfortunate thing, 95% are either conservatives, and at least about 80% are MAGA cultists. So I got to deal with them every day.
Really?
And yeah, and usually what comes up is, oh, these gay guys are this, these gay guys are that, you know, or these, you know, they can't say black because I'm black, so they try to disguise it. But they really excoriate you guys, you know. So I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right. So, but I did not have enough knowledge to combat it. So that's why I called your show when you first started. I'm like, I got to find out if I ran for something, how would I address it? And this is how I've been doing it. In other words, you take them where they are. They hate gay people. So, and you ask them, why do they hate gay people? And then they're not going to have an answer for that, for one thing, no logical answer for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if you tell somebody about DEI, don't let them say DEI. Make them say diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And then explain which one of those do you hate. And that's what I do with them. Okay, what about the gay people that they can't come up with any answers? But the thing that's common for people like me that don't know anything about being gay and the people that hate gay people, we have one thing that we have in common. We equate everything you guys do to sex. And then, but the difference is, guys like me, we want to protect gay people and we don't want to have any discriminatory acts against them. So we say, you know, if you MAGA guy hate a gay guy, then why don't we sit down and debate it? Let's have something that we can debate. And usually these MAGA cultists come to my conclusion and the exact conclusions that your first show was when you first had your first show. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm on the right track. So I just want to let you know, love your show because I'm teaching people about how you have no logical reason to hate a gay person. And if I were in office, that's what I'm going to run on.
Yep.
Protection. You know, you protect they have just as much right as everybody else. Yep. And if you infringe on those protections, you're going to have a problem with me. And that's what I'm running on. If I run for something, if you get my point.
We need you to run.
Yeah.
Say, Lawrence, can I ask you a question?
Tell me where I'm messed up on that. I love to listen to, you know, your perspectives, you know, because I can learn about it. Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Lawrence? This is Jim. Is the mayor you're talking about the Newark mayor, am I saying his name right? Rasbaraka? Is that the...
Sounds like a black guy, right?
Yeah. He's the mayor of Newark, I think. I just wanted to let our listeners know who we were talking about. But
yes, that's him.
Okay. Thank you.
Google his platform and you would see his arguments are similar to everybody's arguments except Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer's argument. So everybody else's argument.
Well, he's described in this article as one of the most progressive elected Democrats in the nation. So that's saying a lot, I think.
Yes. He's not afraid to be a liberal. He's running on that liberalism. He is not afraid, and he's taking it to him, and he's winning.
Well,
we need to emulate that.
thank you, Lawrence, for that. We have to take another commercial break. Lawrence, thank you again for calling in today. We really appreciate the conversation. Call in anytime. Folks, stay tuned to The Gailey Show on AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hello, Minnesota. This is Tom Hartman, and you can catch me every weekday from 11 to 2 right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's smart radio for smart people.
Greg Bakken here. Like you, I love good, fresh, delicious food. So I want to tell you about this treasure in Roseville called Maverick's Real Roast Beef. Maverick's has the best roast beef sandwiches I've ever had. Made fresh every order. Add fries or onion rings dropped in the fryer when ordered, and you have a winning combination. Maverick's Real Roast Beef has a lot more than roast beef, so check out their website, mavericksbeef.com, or check out their restaurant on Lexington in Roseville.
Hi, my name is Kathy from Minnesota Recovery Connection.
And I'm Erin with Minnesota Recovery Connection.
We'd like you to listen to our show, Redefining Recovery, a Recovery Revolution. It is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. on AM 950.
On the show, we discuss topics about addiction, understanding substance use disorder, the many pathways to recovery, and finding your personal journey.
Listen to Redefining Recovery Saturdays at 10 a.m. and find our podcast on your favorite app.
Progressive change doesn't just happen. It takes dedication and a lot of hard work. 25 years ago, the DataBank pioneered a new generation of software tools for progressive organizations here in Minnesota. Since then, thousands of organizations have used the DataBank to create progressive change. Today, the DataBank continues to help progressive organizations like AM 950. To have the DataBank help your organization build capacity and create more change, text CHANGE to 612-540-0500 or go to thedatabank.com. The DataBank, a quarter century of dedication and hard work for progressive organizations. AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Tom. Minnesotans take pride in protecting their lakes, trees, and natural beauty. And now you have a chance to do even more. The state is committed to 100% renewable energy by 2040. And by switching to all energy solar, you can help make that goal a reality. Solar works in Minnesota year-round. It runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the winter, you're generating clean energy. And for over 15 years, All Energy Solar has been helping Minnesotans make the move to affordable, renewable power. Now is the time to act. Some federal rebates could disappear with changes in the federal government, so don't wait and miss out. Get with a trusted, award-winning company. All Energy Solar was named Minnesota's best gold winner in 2024 and recognized as a top solar contractor by Solar Power World. The future is renewable. The choice is yours. Stop paying the utility company and start producing your own clean energy with All Energy Solar. Get a free consultation today at allenergysolar.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly sunny skies today with a high near 58. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 36. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high around 66. Looking for the perfect night out? Head to Crooner Supper Club. There's amazing shows all year long, and stop by Maggie's Lounge for cocktails and conversation. Visit croonersmn.com for more info. Crooner Supper Club, old school nightlife with a modern twist. That's Crooner Supper Club.
Coming to you live from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, streaming live right now on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@thegailey-show. This is The Gailey Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour. I'm your host, John Parker, executive producer Jim Pounds with me in the studio. Our call-in number, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I want to pick up here on the letter to the DNC from the major leaders of a number of organizations. So GLAAD, Human Rights Campaign, Equality California, Equality Federation, and Advocates for Transgender Equality. And they were calling on the DNC to do more. And so they're acknowledging that Democratic officials have pushed back, voted no, exercised their veto authority, and stood up as champions for LGBTQ plus people. I'm reading that direct from their letter. And they say, we recognize and appreciate those efforts, but the party's leaders simply must do more. And I think that this is really interesting to me. I think a lot of folks are wondering who is taking up the mantle here. And that's why I wanted to touch on this as sort of a political segment right now. And our caller earlier, Lawrence, was talking about Jasmine Crockett. I would put in there Al Green. Obviously, Bernie Sanders is running around the country right now on a tour against, I think it's the Stop Oligarchy tour, where he's getting, standing room only, thousands of people turning out for those. There was the mayor who Lawrence cited, one of the most progressive members of Congress. We've got AOC, but it's interesting to me that a person hasn't run in and grabbed it yet. And what I mean by that is the mantle of the resistance. And it's there and it's waiting. And you see here this letter to the DNC, which I'll be curious now, Ken Martin, who was previously the state of Minnesota GFL leader, how he is going to respond to this, if at all. And I don't want to dive into a tangent about Ken Martin per se.
You stopped me just in time.
But I know I did. I saw that coming and I'm like, let's sidestep that conversation for right now. But when we see, what was it? It's the ACLU has tracked over 500 anti-LGBTQ bills introduced just in 2025. So that's basically 2.5 months, right, at this point. And I want to see more. It should. I mean, I love Bernie. I didn't caucus for him, but I voted in a caucus for him. Yeah. I liked what he was stood for. I love, his wing and the Elizabeth Warren wing of the party, the squad, Representative Omar, Representative Ocasio-Cortez. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other members of the squad right now. How am I doing that?
Well,
that is awful.
That's why you just say the squad, and you don't have to remember.
But Representative Frost, Maxwell Frost down in Florida. I mean, all these folks are doing such amazing thing and are the future of the party. But they're either not being given the platforms they need to take the fight to them. And maybe Bernie is able to do what he's doing because he has that national presence and because he had that infrastructure already in place.
I think so.
To from running for president to be able to run into these areas and create these town halls.
Yep.
But the LGBTQ Nation was reporting that the Democrats that are putting town halls, and they were citing two. Let's see if I can pull that up. But they were saying that there were these Democratic Congress people that were doing their town halls near borders of Republican states, because Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, has said, no, we're not going to
talk to the public.
Sorry, I'm blanking here. There we go. There's the article. Let's look this up here. So the headline from LGBTQ Nation: thousands flock to Democratic rallies and town halls as Republicans hide from angry constituents. Yep. And they were talking about Emily Randall, who held a massively successful town hall over the past weekend. And is the first openly queer Latina elected to Congress, having an Olympic College theater in Bremerton, Washington, and it was sold out apparently within minutes. We had, let's see, who was the in Wisconsin, Representative not Derek Van Orden, oh my God, Mark Pocan. He had a town hall rather, that was also sold out, and it's just.
Well, we've always won on the issues. What we're talking about is a party that's running away from all of its issues, the Republicans, because they can't win on that.
Well, correct. But I just, I want to see, here's a number. Sanders was in Warren, Michigan, and over 9,000 people showed up. And I think that's what I'm saying is that we're ready. We're here. And we understand that there's an intersectionality to this, that we cannot be selling each other out,
right,
for this. And I, again, want to echo that conversation we were having with Lawrence earlier,
yep,
that we need to be banded together on this. We need to be united on this together.
Yep. And
we can't allow the party just, forcing us to, cherry pick, we're going to do this issue, but not this issue. Like, right. The movement is there and it is ready and it is waiting for someone or someones to walk in and grab it. And it's just really curious to me that we're not seeing that right now. Like nobody, it's like we're all waiting to come in. We're all ready. We've got our money in our hand. We're like, we're gonna buy the ticket. We want to come into your town hall, and nobody's gone for it yet.
Lack of leadership vacuum, which has always been a Democratic problem, in my opinion. We've never had strong leadership. Ben Wickler from Monday is a rare example of somebody who would go, oh, I would follow him. I would listen to everything Ben Wickler has to say. But how many Democratic leaders would you say that about? Still, on the issue of almost
the ones
any
that I
issue,
just named.
almost any issue, overwhelming percentage of people that respond to any survey are on the Democratic side. But we're being manipulated by propaganda, by some very brilliant liars. I've got to admit the capacity to lie from these people and have no moral center is, in a weird way, impressive. I've called them diabolically brilliant, but they're terrible people and they believe terrible things, and they're very good at communicating it. But there have been a lot of people through history who are terrible people and believe terrible things, but they've convinced people that A is Z, and we're seeing it happen in our own next door neighbor. Do you know what I mean? They are literally believing something absolutely provably false. And I don't know what to do about that, but that's the...
Well, I want to be... I want to be how we're saying like terrible people, right? And this is, coming from an equity and inclusion background. You want to sit there and you want to engage with somebody about particular issues. You want to do that. You want to give the space to, hey, we can make this college more inclusive. We can make this business more inclusive. But then you get to a point where you're like, if they are deliberately stonewalling, if they are deliberately trying not to, I'm estranged from my family because they decided, no, we're not going to accept you for who you are. You know what I mean? And it was like, I was pretty upfront with who I was. And there were some people that were like, we're just not even going to acknowledge the fact of the pain that you just described to us. Like we're literally not even going to respond to you on that. And I'm like, at that point you have to wonder, is this a position they're taking, or are they just choosing to be kind of terrible right now?
You and I use different tactics. We have the same end goal, but my philosophy, and this, we talked about this, there was a farmer, a gay farmer in Western Wisconsin who I was communicating with. And I said, why don't we get together and have coffee or something? Because I believe with 100% certainty, and I said the same thing to Duke Tucker, who's my new representative in the assembly. Let's sit down and have coffee, because there is not a thing that you can say. There is not evidence to support what you're saying. There's not an argument, a rational argument you can make on any subject, just about. I'm sure there's an exception. 99% of the time, I can argue rings around you with facts or truth or common sense, because we're dealing with such irrationality. Like you were doing the story about kids being,
Oh, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes.
Oh, all right. Because that's like, how do you support that and be a human?
On the politics side, I think that, seeing these leaders of these queer organizations coming out and saying you need to be doing more, and I think there is this hunger for it. And I could see Vice President Kamala Harris going, I told you all, like, you deal with this now. But I could also see her saying, you know what, she could be a leader of resistance that we would all rally around, because she did tell us all of this. And now she would be free and unencumbered to say whatever she wants to say, because she wouldn't be running a 3-month campaign. And, data that I pulled up on, and I'm just going to say this because I pulled up this data on Monday. And, for folks that say, oh, Kamala ran a bad campaign and it was all her fault, here's some facts for you. In Wisconsin, Kamala got 30,000 more votes than Biden did in 2020. In North Carolina, she got 30,000 more votes than Biden did in 2020. In Nevada, she got 1,500 more votes than Biden did in 2020. And she got over 70,000 more votes than Biden did in Georgia in 2020. She ran an incredibly effective campaign that outperformed Biden in 4 of the 7 swing states. She had 90 days, raised over $1 billion. And I think, if she wanted to, there would be a movement ready and waiting But even if she chose not to, and I could completely understand why she wouldn't want to, it was like, I was there for you all, and you all said no. But my larger point is that I think that we're 2 months in and wanting to pace ourselves, but there is a movement waiting for 1, 2, 3 people to grab it and run with it, and we haven't seen someone step up yet. Either they're trying to and they're being blocked from doing so,
Could be,
or they're just sort of waiting on the sidelines for it to happen. But I think if the squad wanted to go out on tour right now, they would pack out stadiums,
right? Well,
with ready Democrats and lefties.
I think what I learned, and I'm just speaking for myself, and nobody might agree with me, and that's fine. But I think Kamala's, in addition to not having enough time, sort of being shot out of a cannon, and put her in a great disadvantage. There is an element of misogyny and racism in this country that is not just in the Republican Party, and so there are people who I'm not
going to argue. Yeah, there is.
Who didn't vote. Maybe they said, you know what, I just can't do that for reasons I don't agree with. And they stayed home. And that's maybe among the 6.9 million people that didn't vote, because the overall total for the Democrats was down 6.9 million.
We saw that in Minnesota. We saw that in Wisconsin, New York, and New Jersey.
Yep.
But not necessarily Wisconsin, because again, I want to point out, in 4 of the 7 swing states, she outperformed Biden.
But miraculously,
so yes, there were a bunch of folks that turned out that said, we don't want another person of color in the White House. And there were a bunch of people that turned out and said, we are not going to have a woman in the White House. Absolutely. Right. 100%. Never underestimate the sexism and racism of the United States. Never, ever underestimate it. It is there. And also, apparently, never underestimate the gullibility of, American voters, because the fact that they all believed Trump wasn't going to do anything around Project 2025 when the rest of us, the 69 million of us that voted for Kamala Harris were like, he's totally lying right now.
75 million, yes.
75, I'm blanking on the actual, the number.
Yep.
We knew. And those voters and those organizers, they knew the assignment in Wisconsin, Nevada, North Carolina, and Georgia. They knew what the assignment was. They went out there, they organized, and they got out the vote, and they outperformed Biden in 2020. And they need to have that credit. And I don't think Kamala's getting enough credit for what she did in 90 days. And now we're waiting, and maybe that's part of the problem, is that we're waiting for somebody. Maybe we shouldn't be waiting for somebody. Maybe we just need to go and create that movement ourselves.
But if you're a statistics person, and I know you are to some degree, you could throw the dice 7 times and you wouldn't come up with the same number 7 times. So the fact that what we're dealing with is somebody who won 7 of 7, the odds against that happening and being legitimate, even though I can't prove that it's not legitimate, but it's a mind-blowing possibility.
We gotta take a break here.
Glad I got that in.
Support our sponsors. They keep conversations like this and news reporting like this on the air. Tell them you heard about them on The Gailey Show.
Hey, it's Tom. Minnesotans take pride in protecting their lakes, trees, and natural beauty. And now you have a chance to do even more. The state is committed to 100% renewable energy by 2040. And by switching to all-energy solar, you can help make that goal a reality. Solar works in Minnesota year-round. It runs on sunlight, not heat. So even in the winter, you're generating clean energy. And for over 15 years, all-energy solar has been helping Minnesotans make the move to affordable, renewable power. Now is the time to act. Some federal rebates could disappear with changes in the federal government, so don't wait and miss out. Get with a trusted, award-winning company. All Energy Solar was named Minnesota's best gold winner in 2024 and recognized as a top solar contractor by Solar Power World. The future is renewable. The choice is yours. Stop paying the utility company and start producing your own clean energy with All Energy Solar. Get a free consultation today at allenergysolar.com.
Hello, my friends. It's Nancy Nelson. I have an invitation. Our Maddie McNeil has been on the air here at AM 950 for 15 years. We're celebrating, and you should join us. It's Sunday, March 30th from 2 to 5 p.m. at Crooner Supper Club. You order a marvelous dinner. There's going to be a lot of videos of people congratulating Maddie, and then I'm going to interview him about his life and his career, and you have the chance to spend time with him and meet him. Order your tickets, am950radio.com. Join us.
Tune in this Saturday morning from 7 to 8 a.m. right here on AM 950 for the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show from 7 to 8 a.m. We'll be discussing That's Not Totally True garden myths, as well as the world of lettuces. Our guest is canner and blogger Linda Zidrick will be with us, and we'll answer your garden questions. So tell your friends Garden Talk Radio is on AM 950 from 7 to 8 a.m. Saturday mornings.
Hi, I'm Philip Anthony, host of the Downright Upright Show, airing right here on AM 950 Radio, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Join me as I dive into captivating conversations with people from all walks of life. As a proud member of the LGBTQ community, I celebrate diversity and beyond with unique stories that make us fantabulous. Please join me every Saturday at 5 p.m. or wherever you listen to podcasts.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Welcome back to the Daily Show. I am your host, John Parker. We're having a lively conversation today. Wow. And this is our shortest segment, but I do want to touch base because I mentioned it at the top of the show, some healthcare stuff. I maybe we'll have to pick this up again on Monday. Study that came out. I want to start with the study because everybody thinks that there are all of these surgeries happening for trans kids under the age of 12. And there was a study came out last July, and I still believe that facts matter. It was from Harvard School of Public Health, and they found that there was no utilization of gender-affirming surgeries by children under the age of 12. Now,
and that's a fact.
According to data, and they were looking at a huge data set. We were talking about, let's see here, where is the, they're not going to tell me what the data set was. It was a lot of people, like tens of thousands of folks were in the study that they were looking at here.
Okay.
The surgeries that were happening for 13 to 19-year-olds are a surgery that is not just for trans people. It is the majority of folks are doing a breast reduction surgery, and that is cisgender kids and trans kids. They were engaging in it, but the number of it is also very, very low. So it was, let's see here, no gender affirming surgeries ages 12 and younger. For 15 to 17-year-olds, actually, that was the number they were looking at. 15 to 17-year-olds, the rate was 2.1 for every 100,000.
That is small.
Okay. And it was the majority of these were chest surgeries. Okay. And they are things that, frankly, boys, cisgender boys will have breast reduction surgeries depending on, how it is affecting their posture and their spine. Cisgender girls will get them right as well. And then it was part of gender affirming care if and when if it makes sense, not when, if it makes sense for a 15, to 17-year-old child to do it. But as we talked about with Dr. Kate Gepford from Children's Minnesota, surgery is actually not something that people run to. It is something that's considered to be an adult decision, right? Okay. So
that sounds
let's talk about surgeries.
That sounds very rational when you say it. And when you hear the other side talk about it, it sounds like the world is burning up. So it's nice to hear some nice cold facts. Thank you.
So if we want to talk about surgeries, let's talk about surgeries, non-consensual surgeries being done on kids under the age of 2 who are intersex.
Wow.
All right. These are kids who are born, and it's like 1.2% of the population is intersex, and they're being born with genitals. I don't want to say exactly because it manifests itself in a variety of different ways, but let's say that there are what's an easy way of the overview of this, that they may have not fully formed genitals of either both both sexes in terms of like a penis and a vagina and stuff like that, a different combination of those. They will do surgeries on these children. And this is the World Health Organization, the UN, Amnesty International condemned these. Like, these are not considered, you should not be doing those because they do actually have complications and long-term effects, negative effects for the kids. To do this, and this is non-consensual, right? So the kids are not able to make an effective decision here. You don't have to be doing this. So if you care about surgeries, the surgeries that are happening are dangerous surgeries with long-term complications for intersex babies and toddlers. Those are the surgeries that we should be concerned about with right now. There are no gender-affirming surgeries for trans, non-binary, and gender-confirming kids under the age of 12. It is not happening.
So these are sort of mutilations. We should be more concerned about mutilations.
I don't know if I don't know if that's the way that they would characterize them, and particularly the organization Interact, which is one of the big organizations that advocates for intersex people. But there is a situation, right, where they want to talk about they being GOP, MAGA, the Trump administration, about surgeries. Well, here we actually have a problem with surgeries. You made up a problem that doesn't exist. Here we actually have a problem,
real problem,
and they're not addressing it, right? And then you have the fun folks in West Virginia. Republicans in the West Virginia legislature have passed a bill that would allow healthcare providers to visually or physically examine a child for the purpose of identifying their genitalia without the consent of the child's parent, guardian, or custodian.
Sounds Elizabethan.
Parents' rights.
Oh, yes.
Parents' rights.
Parents' rights. So important.
Parents' rights. Parents should be in charge of how all of this is determined. But apparently, this bill, SB 456, defines sex based on whether or not a person produces eggs or sperm. Now, that even in of itself is problematic when you look at, actual biology, that those things, let's not get into that. No, I want to give an example of that, actually. There's an example, and this will probably be my last one before we head out the show, but this is a good thing to know. There's a study of a guy, identified as a guy, his entire life, fully functioning, male, quote unquote, genitalia, has a for hernia operation in his 60s, and finds out that he has a fully developed uterus.
Wow, that's
didn't know about it his entire life. If he wouldn't have had a hernia and needed to go in and have surgery, they never would have found that.
That's a kick in the head,
right? Biology, science, go figure. Facts.
So scary.
Go figure.
All this truth.
That this is not, you cannot boil this down, but we have real healthcare concerns happening, and they want to make stuff up. And it's just, we're going to pick this up. Healthcare is clearly something that I want to keep talking about over the course of our show, but we're going to have to leave it there for right now. The Matt McNeil Show is coming up next. I believe it's being guest hosted by Bruce Klopfleisch.
I think so.
This evening. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio. We'll be back here tomorrow for Thinking Clearly, Thinking Queerly with Laura Lillibridge, talking about writing queerly. Very good conversation we're going to have there. So in the meantime, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer.
This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, weekdays at 5 p.m. On our show, you'll hear about Native issues